That sounded like a delayed clap, but whatever. Hey, welcome everybody to the World of Dragons podcast, the podcast where two and a half dragons get together to discover, review, and discuss dragon-centric content and media, including but not limited to books, movies, TV shows, and video games, to help the rest of you dragon fans discover the next universe that you want to lose yourself in. The next book you want to read, the next game you want to play, and so on and so forth. Mostly because some of them, like movies, are easy. They're whatever, 2 hours. But other things, books are like 15 hours plus. Games can be like $60, 20 hours plus. It's just we're letting you know ahead of time. Is it worth the attempt? I am Ray, one of your hosts and the main driving force behind this because I have two sleepy boys here. No, but you hate reading still. But that was a perfect opening. All right. All right. Is it working this time, Dilettante?
It is working this time.
All right. I already did the intro. I'm not going to welcome you guys again. You're already sitting down. Sit back down.
Sit back down.
Just people filing into their seats. Dylan's like, wait, gotta redo it. And they all stand up to leave the room. I'm like, nope, sit your ass down. Anyway, so yes, as I said, I have two sleepy boys here. Bantam disdains that. And Dilettante agrees with it. And he didn't notice that he wasn't recording until he tried to agree with it.
And I'm still going to agree with it. Because, fuck.
But yeah, these two get kind of eager to do games and movies and whatnot, but they are much fewer in quantity compared to books, so I become like, I don't want to say slave driver, but I'm
Evil
definitely holding
overseer.
a whip.
You are. You drive pretty hard.
I do drive.
Motherfucker shifted into overdrive with the nitro going.
Yeah. This episode, we are going to be doing the second book in the Scales of Empire series. No, the Dragon Empire series. Fucking hell. Whatever. The book is called Guardian of Empire by Kylie Chan. I need to make sure I just have the Goodreads page open every time we record now so I can get this shit right.
The cats did nothing wrong.
Spoiler, they did everything wrong.
They kind of did a lot of things wrong.
Yeah. I got thoughts on that, but we'll save that.
And Goodreads is not loading, so whatever. We'll just hope what I said is correct, and I'll figure it out later. Okay. But yeah, before we get into that, I guess I should have asked you guys before we recorded, do we actually have Dragon news?
I don't think so.
If anything important has happened in the world of Dragon media, we have not heard about it yet.
No,
I
but
guess the closest thing to Dragon news is I've been getting emails from one of the Kickstarters that I backed, it's called Wormlings. It's a tabletop game like D&D, but you're meant to play as a bunch of baby dragons, and you go on adventures. And I don't know how good it's going to be, but I'm excited to try it. Maybe we'll like 4-hour, not live stream, but an actual play. Release that as a bonus episode. We'll see when I get the book, finally the PDF, and read it. We'll see if that's something worth doing.
boo, give me digital.
PDF is digital.
Yeah, PDF is digital.
It's the middle word.
Yeah, PDF stands for pretty digital, fucker.
Dilettante's confused now.
I'm
does
very
PDF stand
confused.
I don't know. A printable document file? I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Portable document format.
Oh, okay.
I had to know it was going to bother me.
Yeah.
So that's the closest thing to Dragon news we have, just because we have not been paying attention. Our heads have kind of been in the sand because a couple games have come out that have completely destroyed our free time.
Oh yeah.
Which is why I want to apologize that these episodes are coming out a bit late. I got like two more at the time of recording right now. I got two more I got to edit and upload. So I'm falling a little bit behind, but that's okay. I'll catch up. We'll catch up in October when we basically pause recording anyway.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 came out, which Ray and I have been drowning in for a bit. And then for me, personally, Armored Core 6 just came out. I'm almost done with my third and final playthrough. And then in 8 days, Starfield comes out. And then a month after that, the new Cyberpunk DLC. It's crazy for gaming right now.
Yeah. For me, on my end, I just got Book of Hours, which is a sequel question mark to Cultist Simulator. It's made by the same people and it takes place in the same universe. It's got a lot of reused assets like the little icons and whatnot, but the gameplay I would not call it a sequel. But it's still really fun. You still got the crazy Cthulhu adjacent lore going on. I think he made up all the lore himself. If it's referencing anything from like old mythologies, I don't know about it. But it's definitely Lovecraftian in feel.
I took a peek at his gameplay while he was playing last night, and it looks like Fallout Vault Dweller or whatever that Fallout Shelter. It looks like Fallout Shelter with like a hotel seen from the side with like hundreds of
Yeah.
different size rooms
So
and
I'm gonna go on like a 3 minute tangent real fast because I like the game and I'm gonna shill it. Uh, the original Cultist Simulator was the gameplay was you were basically on a tabletop and you had cards and the cards would go into slots and they would do things. For example, you would put your heart card into work in order to go and work to make money. You would put like books, like you got cards that represented books. You put them into in your study or you read or something. You had another verb slot, but you slot the book into that slot to read it, and then you would get knowledge out of it, and the knowledge itself is represented as a card because then you have to use the knowledge with work to like do rituals and stuff. It was basically put cards into slots and things happen. This the sequel question mark gameplay is very similar in the sense that you have cards and you put them into slots and things happen, but there are much fewer slots, and there is also no time limit. Like in the first game, you had a recurring 60-second clock that would take money from you every 60 seconds, and if you ran out, then you would start to starve. You also had like police people that were after you, and if you did too many culty things, they would catch you and you would lose that way. There seem to be no fail states in this, and it's kind of just really peaceful. And there are less slots to put stuff in, but there are more things to put into the slots, so it becomes a lot more of a giant mass puzzle and like trying to figure stuff out.
I do like games with no fail states.
Yeah. Maybe one day I'll sit down and I'll actually show you from the beginning how to play it, and maybe you'll be like, this seems pretty interesting.
Doubt.
It's a chill, relaxing, quote, library simulator with no fail states and a whole bunch of achievements and check marks to go through.
You lost me at Library Simulator.
He got me at check marks and achievements though. I I fucking love check marks.
Like I just got the achievement for restoring the abbey all the way to the top spire. Only 6% people have that so far. But yeah, what have you been up to, Diletan? Bentham and I have just explained the games we've lost ourselves in.
Pretty much the same. I've been going through Armored Core 6 and then replaying Armored Core Nexus while listening to the audiobook. And me and Abicac were on a quest to try to get Command and Conquer Generals multiplayer working, but the netcode is so fucked up. We have basically failed at every turn.
They
There's
just need
no
to make a
hope.
proper sequel.
I ain't never happened. All they need to do is just fix the code for the original game and then resell it. I'd fucking buy it.
Sadly, I think RTSs are on the decline. They're not
No,
dead. They're
we
still a very
we
devoted fan base, but as far as popularity amongst the masses, they're on decline. More people getting into faster paced stuff like shooters and
well, that's because the developers are focusing
CRPGs.
more on RTS multiplayer than actual catering to the casual player base, which is like more than 80% of all RTS players. But there is a resurgence. Tempest Rising is coming out soon, which is like a clone of Command and Conquer, which I'm really excited for. There's Zero something that's also coming out that's got a lot of very prominent RTS players working hand to hand trying to optimize it.
We shall see.
No, I think it's going to make a comeback. Just give it time. And destroy all
Kids
mobile
these days,
phones.
kids these days aren't patient enough for RTSs.
They really aren't.
But all right, I guess that's all the what's happening in our lives going on. We can get up into the book review, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm trying to think. With this being a sequel, I don't know. Do we need to have like a spoiler-free part?
We really don't.
I
I guess the fastest of spoiler-free parts is just to me ask you two. was the like you enjoyed the first one because I asked if you wanted to continue into this thing. You said yes. Do you regret that? Did it live up to your expectations? Is it a worthy sequel, just in general?
I mean, I didn't really have any expectations going into the sequel, but it didn't really let me down. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, not to stomp all over your party, Ray, but neither Diletan or I feel like I'm confident in speaking for Diletan here. We're never excited or anticipating going into another book.
Yeah, no, we
we're
really aren't.
never we're never like, oh boy, I can't wait to find out what happens in the sequel.
Okay, well, pretend you're excited for the sake of the review, or I'm gonna
uh,
kick you out and I'm gonna get Tresnix and Terran to be on my show.
I don't I didn't like this book as much as the first one. In a lot of politics and the personality flaws that I found with the main character Zhang, or however you say her name, were way worse in this book. And what I mean by personality flaw, well, not really personality flaws, but just writing flaws, I guess. The most awful, horrible shit was happening to her slash around her, and then in the very next page, she's just like, "Hey, what's up? Haha, it's great to be back." Like she like horrible things happen to her, and then it's like someone just bashes her upside the head and she forgets the last 20 minutes, and then she just goes on like everything's peachy keen, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
I also don't like and this is not the author's fault, but the narrator who I praised in the last episode, um, the little personality quirks that she gives each character is starting to show through in an annoying way. There was one word in particular that I had to pause because I was so disgusted with just the way she pronounced it. Someone refused to do something and Jiang called them a coward, but the narrator went coward, and it's like it was just one word, and she's like coward, and it's like no one says it like that. It no, it's
Maybe
so
some people do.
it's so British. I hate it. And also the cat voices, were starting to grate on me because there were more of them. I guess there were different. The thing was is there was only like 3 or 4 cats in the first book, and they had very bit parts. So she kind of just used the same voice for all of them. But in this one, there's many more cats and with different personalities. So she tried to give them all different voices, and they were grating. I could not stand listening to them.
Well, I'm sorry. I
It's
enjoyed this rendition of Cats. As far as to comment on your comment of how like she gets over things way too fast or whatever. I will say that from what I can remember, like I said, I read this series like 2 or 3 months ago while scouting it out, and I didn't bother rereading it because it was so close that would have been like kind of draggy. Um, but I remember like the first book definitely felt like one large storyline. Like things happened, you started at A and you end up at B, and you went. It was a story, right?
yeah, yeah.
This almost felt more like a slideshow. Like it's a collection of, hey, here's 20 different scenes. Some of them will be tied together lightly, and by the time you get to the end of it, you'll see the hidden storyline between them all. But for the most part, it's a slideshow of different scenes.
This
We've got
was
we've got like Jiang falling in love and Jiang going to this planet to do this vacation thing, and then her doing this thing with the cats, and her doing this thing on the Dragon Homeworld. Right? It jumped around a whole lot.
it felt like a book of side quests.
Yeah, and while I personally am generally okay with scene collections, slideshows, side quests, whatever you want to call it, uh, some people can think that it feels like filler and start to not like it. I enjoy it because it helps develop characters, and I just like seeing slice of life kind of stuff. Uh, but one thing that the book didn't do very well is explaining how much time passes between each of these scenes, and that may be why you feel like she got over stuff really fast. Maybe it's like after this horrendous thing, 2 years have passed full of counseling and therapy, and Mark just deleting memories from her brain. Uh, and so that's why in the next scene she seems completely fine with it because it's been a long time and she's gotten the help she needs from it. But the book does not do a good job explaining that, and so it does feel like she bounces back really fast sometimes.
Yeah, I guess so. I just it and the other thing is that Ray tried to devil's advocate for the book, which is a fair assessment, which is that the Mark Sphere has the ability to erase memories. Like just straight up, like, oh, this was traumatizing for you. Boom, now you don't
I
remember it
mean,
happened.
at one point, David flat out asks for it, so you know he can do it and has done it.
Yeah, and it's like Ray and I were discussing it while making dinner yesterday, and it was that there's probably two things that the author just kind of forgot to explain, which is time gaps and uh, expecting the reader to just assume this an event happened, like with the removal of memories. Um, I don't know how spoiler it is, so you can feel free to cut this. But there's one scene where Zhang is captured by the cats, and she comes across a dead body that has been rotting and in the cell, and she's just like overwhelmed by the odor, and she's just like, oh god, she must have been dead for days or weeks or whatever. And then in the very next scene she's just like, whatever, we're on an aqua planet helping octopus people breed. It's all cool, I'm gonna go get my swimsuit. And it's like, do you just not have any empathy left? Like, are you incapable of feeling
So
anything?
I I definitely feel like there's enough time skip to help her get over it, but there's a good chance that her being military and having to deal with all the shit she's been dealing with, maybe she has become a little soul numbed.
Not the fact immortality basically renders the passage of time irrelevant. The author doesn't, since they can live forever, a few years is nothing to them.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's actually another problem I have with the book,
Oh yeah, no,
and
it's a
this
very big
is
problem.
the immortality shit. They're using it as a way for them to brutally kill off people and be like, oh no, it's fine because soul stones, and it's like, then none of these deaths matter, and the real deaths, the full deaths or whatever they call them, the true death, those are what matter. But they're used just as often as they would in any typical fantasy book. So the immortality thing is just filler and nonsense. And it's
I
like,
You finish.
I mean, that's all I was gonna say. Was just
Oh.
that it feels like every time they kill a character, they could have just as easily not killed a character. And every time they describe an, oh god, it's the full death, just have a character die at that point. Get rid of the whole immortality thing entirely.
Yeah. So I have a weird love-hate relationship with the immortality, the soul stones and all that. I like it because like personally, like who wouldn't want to live quote forever or at least as long as you want to, right? Because there's so much in the universe to experience and like it would be great to like meet a civilization that exists across several galaxies and they're like, "Hey, we can let you live as long as you want so you can go and visit all these planets and do whatever you want," right? Big ass bucket list, all the time and we'll take care of it. It's great, right? But the way that this book handled it or like dealt with it or used it to try to create, like you said, fake tension, fake drama in some of these scenes made it feel like gross, I guess. Like um, I think it's fairly early on, so it's within the first half at least, where the bug alien has some babies, the bugs that have like three people like conjoined in one. It's like super Siamese twins, and that's like their natural state or whatever. And then these little energy beings that are like, we could just split them up. That seems super easy. And they have to try to explain to these energy beings that no, you can't just split up physical beings because they will die. And she like proves it by like, here, do it to me. I'll show you how deadly it is, and then dead, right? It's like such a fucking slap on the wrist, and it's like that felt like dumb and not necessary.
Actually, yeah, it's a good point. Dragonstruck becomes completely irrelevant if you're immortal.
Yeah, they actually do describe at some point in the book. Some character asks, like, "What if you die and you're put into a new body? Are you still dragon struck?" She's like, "Yeah, I think it has to do with your soul." And it's like, what the fuck does that mean? No.
I could see it. It really is a really weird. That's a mess that the immortality did kind of bring up. Like Dragonstruck in the first book was like it's a great concept. I loved it. I love the idea of thinking that I've like caused some people to be Dragonstruck with me because then they can never leave and I won't be lonely anymore. Tiny violin.
Pat, pat.
But yeah, I know, right? Um but then yeah, once you bring the immortality into it, is now it's like how dangerous is it actually? Is it actually like a soul blight like they said? Because that's a little weird. Because like that implies then because in the first book the explanation of what the soul was like it's a remnant of the Big Bang, some like I don't know, some wavelength that the physical body happens to be a receiver for it was how they explained it or something.
It's like a type of signal.
Yeah, but the point is like the body is like the receiver, and so to me that came across as them trying to validate reincarnation. Like you die, that physical body dies, the soul drifts off until it finds another body that's compatible with it, right? So reincarnation. So the point is, when that happens, is your reincarnated body dragon struck now because your soul has been dragon struck? It's like some weird messy things came because of them wanting to do the immortality. And I don't think this is a spoiler, but the immortality gets abused a bit more in the third book as far as like the sheer span of time that things happen, to where it's like becomes like borderline eye rolling. Like, oh god, come on. 10,000 years, seriously? Ugh.
Do you
Yeah,
skip 10,000 years?
Yeah, I can't say anything beyond the number, but at some point the time span of 10,000 years comes up and everyone's like horrified, like 10,000 years. And I'm sitting there like, you guys live forever. God damn it.
That's
I will.
such a huge leap.
Yeah, it is.
That's so dumb.
It is very dumb. I actually don't like the third book at all.
Oh, good. Then we won't do it.
Do you guys have any interest at all, before I said that, any interest at all in doing the third book?
So all right. If I were to take, and this is me being bluntly honest, okay. The first book was good. I actually really liked it. Uh, the second book, not so much, because it felt like a collection of short stories. It, the thing is that at least from personal experience, if I wanted to write a book, which I have, I wrote a personal one, whatever. I had a clear story, and I told it A to B, done. The story is done. And when I thought a couple of years later, I want to make a sequel to that book, I was struggling because I had resolved all, like I had made a decent story. So now I was having to make up bullshit for the
All right,
second book, and I just didn't do it.
hold on. I gotta interject. So, book one of Dragon Empire was the movie, and then book two was the TV series they did afterwards because they want to
Yeah.
keep going.
Yep. And it felt like a lot of shit was being made up as she went along.
So, like, to me personally, book one was great. It was a good story. Book two, I thought was fun. I wouldn't call it great. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I liked seeing some of the stuff that happened in it. Book three starts out that way. It starts out fun, but then gets a little too shark jumpy for my tastes. Dilettante, what about your thoughts? Do you have any? I know you hate books, but your hatred aside. Handicap. Give all the books plus 10 points for handicap. Are you interested in going into book three at all?
I gotta dig through a lot of book hatred in order to find interest in it. You gotta understand this.
All right. Well, I'm asking because if you guys don't want to do book three for the show at all, you just want to like stop now and whatever, then after we do finish talking about the second book, we'll play our little outro, but then we won't leave the call and I will explain book three to you and to the listeners that want to hang around afterwards. Kind of like how we did with Age of Fire after book three. We did the outro and then I told you really fast book four, five, and six.
Okay.
Yeah?
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm down to not read any more of this.
Okay. Okay.
Mostly, look. Like I said, I liked the first book. The second book kind of killed that for me because I, they talk about how evil the dragons are by assimilating and how they do this whole takeover but with love and kindness or whatever, and then the cats are just so cartoonishly fucking evil that it's like Saturday morning cartoon villain, and it's just aggravating because every time the good guys come up with a solid plan, like, oh, this will be perfect, the cats will never see it coming. No, it turns out the cats have been playing 40 fucking chess, and that even though the dragons have all these crazy abilities, nanomachine son fucking ruin everything, and it's like it's just not fun. It's not fun when the good guys just get fucking hard blocked at every goddamn turn.
Yeah, it feels like kids playing imaginary at the playground. They just come up with more random bullshit to counter more random bullshit.
The
The
thing is, the power level, I guess I'm going to call it, in this book is so incredibly high with science that can do anything. I mean, Mark is basically all powerful, right? So with science that can do anything, you the stakes being raised is going to come across as cartoonishly bullshit levels of like what the fuckery.
there's a bunch of things that again, science fiction can break rules. I understand that, but when you take a science fiction concept and you use it in your book, I feel like you kind of need to adopt the rules that uh, viewers and fans have already accepted as canon. And what I mean by that is let's use the the nanobots as an example. The dragons end up in cat space, and then immediately within seconds are eaten alive by nanomachines. Uh, the nanomachines would not be able to instantly teleport onto a fucking dragon ship and instantly destroy them in the amount of like nanomachines are still a robotic swarm that need to move. Like I've seen movies where the gray goo or whatever, it's like this giant cloud that's moving toward people. It's like it doesn't instantly transmission and then fuck shit up. And it just seemed like, oh no, we can't get close enough to the planet or we'll instantly fucking die from nanomachines. It's like that's not how nanomachines work at all in anything.
Nanomachine, son.
Yeah, it's just the nanomachines are a MacGuffin for the cats to just hard counter everything the good guys do.
So I don't have a lot of experience with sci-fi, but I've always assumed that in anything sci-fi, nanomachines has been their excuse to pull off the same levels of bullshit that magic does in fantasy. Like nanomachines
Honestly,
can
you're
do
right.
anything.
I have watched a lot of sci-fi, and nanomachines are like god tier endgame bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't they
How
also
how do we explain the kid who can do this? Nanomachines.
yeah, nanomachines are but like even in the you know using the Metal Gear Revengeance thing. It's like even the nanomachines covering Armstrong's body had to slowly move across the skin, or would his whole body is covered in them or whatever. But crossing the vast distance of space is a little fucking different than covering someone's body. And the fact that the cats use nanomachines to basically tear off every human captive's legs and replace them with nanomachine legs that can listen in, and one singular cat is controlling all the fucking nanomachines on the goddamn planet is a
No,
little
not on the planet. It's all the ones that are quote his color. Like if
which
you
is
remember when the other
that
cat came, they had two nanomachine clans fighting.
yeah. But they also she looked out over the cat city and saw that every building was his color except for like two buildings of a different color and one building of another color.
Yeah,
It's
so it's a lot, but it's not the whole planet.
it feels like the whole planet because he's controlling the entire fucking stratosphere. He's got the entire stratosphere. As soon as a dragon shows up within communication range, they get killed.
So
It's
I'm going to counter argue your space nanomachine thing doesn't make sense. Right now, we have space debris flying at like 17,000 miles an hour, an hour, I think. I don't know, it's pretty fucking fast. They're basically like miniature bullets. Like a screw will come off of one of the satellites and just constantly pick up acceleration through Earth's orbit. They could have the same thing with nanomachines, which can also replicate through science bullshit. So, yeah, they're like little supersonic replicating bullets, which is technically possible.
uh, I think my biggest issue is that in the first book they established that the war between cats and every other sapient species in the galaxy was always the dragons would show up, start breeding with a race, the cats would show up and nuke the planet, and the dragons would do nothing, and that's just how it's been. And so the
Yeah, because
dragons,
the cats just have this personal vendetta against the dragons.
yeah, but then the humans get involved. And because the humans get involved, suddenly we're going from, throwing sticks and stones at each other to fucking, apocalypse level, you know. I understand, yeah, the cats are blowing up planets and stuff, but it's like once the humans got involved, everything elevated and ramped up to a ridiculous degree. The cats started using tactics that were absolutely batshit insane and effective, which is weird, but it's like they've never shown any uh, aptitude for these kind of tactics before, and then they're all of a sudden smart enough to leverage the dragons to get all of their fleet back to their home world, and then just kill hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dragons and humans by using warp bubbles. And it's like none of this shit was ever obvious to them, and then every single time the main characters the book almost spoiled itself. Every time the main character said something about like oh, if we destroy this cat ship it'll be fine because they're out of range to be able to communicate with their homeworld, no one will ever know what'll happen. But then they give them a dragon scale, a basket of fucking potatoes, and teleport them back to their planet, and it's like, why would you fucking do that?
Because
Kill
the
them.
dragons are hyper pacifist. They don't want to kill.
The dragons are, but the humans are not. Fucking kill them. Eliminate the goddamn cats. All the humans, the
Genocide's bad,
dragons.
mister.
Listen, the dragons made all the horrible shit that happened possible by not only showing the cats what everybody is capable of doing to them and then teleporting them back to their homeworld and going, okay, now go talk to your people and tell them about all of our tactics that we've been using successfully, like, over and over. And it's like, are you fucking dumb?
All right. So for the record, I agree. Wipe out the cats. Right. That's the easiest way to get rid of a problem is to wipe them out. But I understand that's very evil thinking. From their point of view, they don't want to completely wipe out a species if they don't have to. Again, with the mortality, they have all the time in the world. They can sit there for 1,000 years trying to diplomacy their way through it and finally get the cats to be friendly or whatever. Right. They've already proved with Oliver that it can be done. Uh, Also, I think it might fit into the human fantasy of uplifting barbaric species or whatever, right? Borderline, what was it? It's not colonization, is it? It's the in
Enlightening?
the old in I don't know, enlightenment,
Indoctrination?
something like that. But in the old time when like Europeans thought that they could uplift the natives of like India and America and
I
whatnot.
mean, they just refer to that as civilizing them.
Whatever. But the point is, it's probably fitting a little into that. It's like we can teach the cats the error of their ways and make them just like us, right? Uh, and also the dragons are against the genocide because first off, they don't like genocide, and second, because even though they probably could win, question mark maybe, with the humans on their side, the the cost of life on both sides would be catastrophic. And with how pacifist the dragons are, they don't want to do that. It's much better to just whatever, give up, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the other thing that annoyed the crap out of me was there was one particular scene where uh, one of the dragons kept insisting on making peace with the cats. Like, oh, or it was when they had hostages and she was trying to negotiate with them, and she just kept suggesting, "Let us go down there. Let us take care of this. Let us do this. Let us do this." And the cats were like, "No, no, no! If you don't shut the fuck up, we're gonna kill everybody." No, and then the dragon's like, "Fine, fuck them anyway." Like, the dragon got pissed off because the 20 fucking attempts. It's like, that's not diplomacy. You're basically just being an annoying child.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's what diplomacy is. Dilettante, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like cats in general? Not this book's version, but like cats in general.
I give him a 7.
7? All right, so listeners, Bantam loves cats. Will die for them. 10 out of 10, best animal in the universe, right?
What?
Yeah?
What animal?
Cats.
I love cats, yes, but this book made me not like them.
Yeah, good. In real life, I dislike cats. I wouldn't say I hate them. I can find them cute. All you people screaming at me now. The problem is that in general, they act like assholes and they're not trained, and their owners tend to just let them get
The
away with stuff, which accidentally trains them to do bad stuff. So a lot of my dislike of cats has to do with the owners, actually, rather than the animal itself. But so we have me and Bantam on the opposite ends of the spectrum here, where I'm like, haha, cats are being shown as the villains they truly are, and he's trying desperately to be like, no, they're still kitties, and then he gives up by the end because they in his mind, in his words earlier, they made them so cartoonishly evil. He's like, no, they're not cartoonishly evil. That's how cats act.
the
That's how
cat
they would act. If you took a cat from Terra right now and just gave it sentience, like boom, snap your fingers, that's how they would act.
No, listen. In the first book, the cats would show up to a colony, be like, "Give us all your food, maybe a couple of your children." Like, the cats were quick to negotiate, were actually talking, whatever. The cats did some evil stuff in the first book, but it could be easily described as retaliation for stuff the dragons and the humans did. But then in the second book, they're fucking mass murdering, ripping off limbs, torturing people, and just being like, "Blah, ha ha ha! If any dragon comes anywhere near our planet, we're gonna kill every fucking person on our, that we have
Yeah,
captive."
Did you
that's how
already forget
cats
the
work.
first book?
All right, all right. The difference between the first book and the second book is they were 4 out of 10 evil in the first book, and then 12 out of 10 evil in the second book.
No, they
I
were
feel
pretty
like
10 out
very
of
little.
10 evil on the
I feel
first
like
book.
very little change. You just couldn't see it before.
What, Dilton?
They were pretty evil in the first book. The first interaction was like, "Hey, give us all your food." And they're like, "No, we're starved." And it's like, "Okay." And then they kill literally 1,000 people for saying no.
Oh, yeah, it's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
See,
they're
he's just a
pretty
cat lover
evil.
trying to
I I do love cats.
he's trying to justify their actions in the book. He's like, nah, they're still kitties. It's like, no, you can have Oliver, and that's it. The rest go. Oliver's fine. He was housebroken.
So never mind. I can't say this.
What?
I was gonna say, all right. Here's what you do.
Hold on, there's a 50% chance I don't edit this out later because I might miss it. Because I'm gotten really sloppy with the editing.
Okay. So here's what you do. The dragons all go back to their home world and just cover their eyes and cover their ears. Send the humans en masse to the cat planet to straight up eradicate all of them, but save all the babies. And then raise the babies to be normal and just straight up genocide the whole goddamn planet.
You know, that's almost as bad as what the cats do.
You know what? Here's the thing. If the cats are willing to do it, then they should be prepared to have it done unto them. Anytime I see like in a sci-fi or fantasy thing or whatever where the bad guy is doing something absolutely horrible and the good guys are like, we can't do that, we can't be as bad as that. Why not? Why can't you be as
Because
bad as
you're
them?
better than that.
That is stupid and it is limiting, and the more deaths that happen afterward because you refuse to stoop to the bad guy's level, then it's on you. If 100,000 more people die because you refuse to pull the trigger and be just as bad as the bad guy, then those deaths are on your hands.
It's the whole Batman argument.
Yeah,
Or Superman or any freaking Marvel DC hero. It's like if you had just killed the villain, you would have prevented so much death and destruction. But sorry, burping. What does that say about your character if you're willing to just wipe people out that easily?
it's the like Ray mentioned at work the other day, the whole joke of like, if you kill a killer, the number of killers in the world stays the same, and it's like, not if you kill more than one.
I guess my best argument for that, trying to just devil's advocate it, is slippery slope. It's like, yeah, it's easy to say you should have just killed the Joker. Look at all the bullshit he's done, right? But then like you start going like, well, if I kill the Joker, then I might as well kill. I don't fucking know DC Batman villains.
That's the
You might
thing.
as well kill Scarecrow because he's also doing terrible things. And then like, well, I guess maybe at that point you might as well do Mr. Freeze because even though he's justified, he's
No,
still doing terrible things. And then
no,
after that, it's like you might as well do Mysterion, but he's just a fucking prankster or
no.
whatever.
Mysterio, you mean, from Spider-Man?
Whatever. I don't
No,
fucking know.
listen,
The
no,
Riddler. That's who I was thinking of.
no. All right, the Riddler robs banks and leaves riddles everywhere. He's
But the point is, it's slippery slope. Like you looking at it right now, it's like, no, he wouldn't do that because obviously, because you're sitting here on this side of the line, you have yet to kill anybody, right? As far as I know. Uh, but the idea is once you start, and it's like, look how much problem I have solved by killing the Joker or whatever. The next time you're like being annoyed by some minor villain, Poison Ivy, I don't fucking know. You're like, what if I just killed her too? And then it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse.
here's the flaw in that argument. Joker is the only one who irredeemably needs to die. The rest of them basically cause problems, rob banks, whatever. Poison Ivy, I would actually say, is a good guy. She's trying to fucking stop humanity from destroying the planet. She's not planning on like, yeah, some of her little schemes are, I'm gonna turn every human being in the world into a plant, but it's like those were for the movies or whatever. Point is that the Joker is irredeemably evil. He is psychotic and he thinks that taking a human life is fun. He needs to be put down. He is I absolutely feel like if I were Batman, I could feel justified in killing the Joker and then going back to not killing the rest of them because the rest of them are just dumbasses who are like, haha, rob the bank. I got the world's biggest diamond.
You know why Batman doesn't kill, right? It's not because of his code. There's another reason. That's because he's compassionate. He wants he wants to help redeem them.
Well, yeah, and all of them can be redeemed,
Okay,
but the
they
Joker
can't be
cannot.
redeemed if they're dead.
The Joker cannot be redeemed.
The Joker can absolutely be redeemed.
The only time, all right, this is the last thing I'll say on this tangent. The only time the Joker has ever been properly redeemed was in a comic book where the Joker finally killed Batman. And the Joker showed up at his funeral with bombs, planning on killing the entire crowd. And then when he saw that no one gave a shit about him anymore because they were so sad that Batman died, he quit and became a fucking worker at the DMV. That was the only time the Joker has ever just stopped being a monster, is when he had already murdered Batman.
That's so fucking stupid.
Comic books are stupid. All comic books. Anyone who
That's why I don't participate in the superhero genre.
Yeah, comic books are fucking dumb. And every time I watch Death Battle on YouTube, and they're like, "Well, in the comics," and I'm like, "All right, immediately this is stupid."
In the comics, he can restructure the universe at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, and it's like, "All right, fuck you. This fight is stupid." Anyway, the cats. I thought I don't know. I thought they were at least an appropriate power level of evil in the first book. Okay, fine. They killed thousands of colonists, whatever.
What's
It's
a thousand colonists here or there?
What's 1,000 colonists here and there? But to start manipulating warp fields to find interesting and unique ways to kill the unkillable, and then convincing that same super pacifist, this is why pacifism never works, but to convince a super pacifistic race to instantly teleport you all over the galaxy to collect your entire military back home. And Zhang even says, "Oh, they're just using us to get all of their ships back home. Will they even be able to fit all those ships in their, on their planet?" They understand that they're being used. And the dragons are like, "No, yeah, well, this is totally fine. Here, have some potatoes, and here's a dragon scale so you can contact us whenever you want." In the first book, when Shumo gave them a dragon scale and told how important it was to get a dragon scale, how they needed to be careful because if everybody was tapping on their scales, they'd never get any sleep. Meanwhile, they're giving the enemy, every single ship, a fucking dragon scale. Like, yeah, here, whatever you want to talk. And it's like,
I try to remember correctly, but I think they gave him multiple dragon scales because they kept destroying the ones they gave to him, and so they no longer exist. So
then
it's not like the cats are sitting here with 50 dragon scales, but they keep giving them a new one when the old one's gone. So
Then
they should only
stop.
ever have like one.
then stop giving them to them. Blow up their planet. How many entire
Bantam. No genocide. No
Huh.
planet cracking.
The
Okay.
Saint Stellaris.
Down.
Okay,
Down-
but
down,
the
boy.
cats planet crack all the time. They've single-handedly wiped out entire species. And the dragons are like, "Well, these 10 species of aliens are completely eradicated because of the cats." It's just at some point I feel like there needs to be a line. If the cats have single-handedly made extinct multiple species of aliens that you were friends with, at what point are you just going to be, "No, it's fine, the cats can be redeemed, I can't wait until we're peaceful with the cats"? It's like, it's never going to happen. And then the next time the cats wipe out an entire planet, that's on you now. It frustrates me. I hate it.
All of Bantam's problems can be solved with murder.
Yes, in fantasy,
In Minecraft.
in Minecraft.
All right, Dillaton, you talk for a bit.
I'm gonna advocate not genociding the cats. I'll be the voice of reason here, and although it is easier to just wipe out all the adults and try to raise the kids who are going to be resentful that you murdered the adults and you're probably going to have to kill them and then restart it with their kids who are going to be resentful, and then you just get this spiral of adult murdering. How about you just it's okay. I really can't think of any option that doesn't involve killing. But the fewer
Put them in
people,
space jail. Put a quantum bubble around the planet. Like, no leave.
or just take out the leadership.
Easier said than done. They got the impenetrable shield of nanomachines.
They're not that impenetrable. All you need is your own nanomachines to fight the enemy nanomachines.
Mark doesn't like nanomachines, though.
Hey, nanomachines ain't that bad.
All right, so let's move on to like a big topic that has to do with in this book, like a big dramatic topic. I can't think of the fucking words. The golden scales, the golden scale dragons in general.
Okay.
I was wondering like any opening thoughts before I start steering the conversation.
No, well, I mean, yeah, the golden scales are I liked them. It seems weird that the dragons would keep them as like a no, you're just bring me grapes and wave the fan. Uh, as far as whatever, and that if okay, actually, I have a good point. The dragons are so fucking pacifistic, but if any of the golden scales are caught doing this one particular thing, they're immediately put to death. And it's like,
Gating,
oh, huh?
gating.
Yeah. If the golden dragon scales create a gate, then oh, that's fine. Murder them. But the fucking cats blow up a planet. Oh no, they could be redeemed.
Okay,
And
so
it's
it is worth pointing out that the Dragon Empress doesn't want to kill the golden scale for gating. It's the other golden scales that have decided, no, this is what has to happen, right? Their little self-governing policy is the ones that are deciding that it should end with murder. And the reason they decide that is because they believe that gating has a chance of completely destroying the fabric of space-time to where the entire universe would collapse and all existence would cease to be at like just everything just gone. And that is such a terrible risk that there can be no leniency, no special circumstances, no, you just can't do it. It's not worth the risk ever. Even if it's only like a 0.5% chance, that then just can't take the risk because if you manage to roll the dice and get that number, existence is gone.
uh okay, then in that case, I'll slight amend my statement and say that uh, in that case, then the dragons should have done everything in their power to stop the golden scales from self-killing themselves for committing this crime. Here's the great thing about ending the entire fabric of space-time. It's either going to happen or it's not. If
I'd
you don't.
rather it didn't though.
You're
No,
an
no, no,
all
but
or
like,
nothing kind of guy,
no,
aren't you?
no, listen. If a golden scale is going to create gates and the universe doesn't end, then okay. But if it does, it's not going to be something that you're going to have to suffer through. It's like, I don't know, it's hard to explain.
Bantam, stop advocating for the destruction of the universe.
I'm not. I'm not.
No,
I'm. I'm.
he's just the kind of guy that's like, you know what? If it happens, it's not my problem anymore.
Yeah. It's. No. It's more like. God, I really wish I could put this to words. Uh. You know what? Whatever. I can't. I can't figure out how I want to explain this. But essentially, like the golden dragon scales can gate all they fucking want, and if it's good, you think, oh well, what if they fuck it up and it ends all of the whole universe? It's like, well, it's not like you're going to have to suffer through it. It's not like watching a bomb go off in the distance and then seeing the mushroom cloud and having 3 or 4 minutes to go, oh my god, I regret everything. It's like the universe will be over. You're not gonna have to worry about it. I don't know.
On a much smaller scale, Bantam's okay with dying as long as it's instant.
Yeah.
We'll come back around to the whole ending the universe thing because they explain it in a bit more detail in the third book. So I'll come back to that at the end. But like right now, like that's why you can't go into scales cannot gate because it'll end the universe. That's like all we need to know at this point in the story, right?
Yeah.
But I guess like the other thing to bring up with them uh, is very pertinent to this podcast and because of the type of people who listen to it, Dragon fans in general. The idea that all, all of the people like John's family and whatnot get put into little dragon bodies. It's like it was a really small scene. It was fast forwarded to fuck. Like what it was supposed to be like what 5 years or something
Uh,
for the
Or
radiation
five
to
seconds
dissipate.
when you calculate immortality.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was. Yeah, it was 5 years because I think they also needed to that their bodies were so damaged that they
Oh, they
needed
had to
to.
get a new soul stone because the other one was irradiated. They had to get a new one and reattune it. That's why it was
Yeah.
5 years. But the point is like 5 years. You have the one scene with whatever the grandma's name is, John's mom. at the party in the Dragon's Girl body and being like, I fucking hate this, right? And then boom, next scene, everyone's back into the normal body. We skipped past those 5 years so fast, and I wanted to see more human and dragon body shenanigans. I would have died for that.
Yeah, yeah, they did. They did just hand wave all that shit away.
No, we just got them being depressed and emo in the hospital, basically like, this isn't my body, what the heck? Like, they started to explore the concept of dysphoria, which was great. Would have been great to spend more time in that. And then we have the party where the grandma is just being, I fucking hate this. If one more dragon asks me to get them an apple juice one more time, I want to fucking kill someone. And it's like, I wanted to see more of that, just more mistaken identities, more them just being dragons, like them trying to learn to walk on four legs, them doing this and that. It's like, that would have been, I would have just a whole book of that, just those 5 years, one whole book.
You know what the problem seems to be? There's too many solutions.
Explain.
Okay, so the world gets nuked. Your family needs to reattune to their bodies, or they're about to die. Okay, well then we'll just put them in dragon bodies. But now you got this new problem where their mind's not equipped to handle the dragon body. Okay, we'll just put them in a coma so they don't have to deal with it. And then it feels like every hurdle has an easy obstacle. Every little obstacle is just so easily overcome by the level of technology they're at that
Mm-hmm.
there's no real consequence to anything.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
So
We're just
all the struggles are meaningless.
to an extent, and I think that leads into why she's able to get over the trauma so fast, because it's in the grand scheme of things, it's all meaningless.
Yeah, she really. The author should not have introduced immortality. Like, maybe give him the Star Trek lifespan of like 150, 200 years. Give him a little extra time. But, like, cap it somewhere.
Yeah, that like maybe the human body can't handle the soul stones quite as effectively or
I
something.
mean, the human psyche can't, but I think that's a book three thing.
I think I
Because
have a pretty good book, too.
Yeah, that's another thing I wanted to bitch about with the nanomachines. The Dragon Empire has these soul stones, and that all friendly races within the Dragon Empire get soul stones, and everyone can be effectively immortal. And they constantly talk. I think it's mentioned like 6 or 7 times how it's so sophisticated that the cats can't possibly reverse engineer it, and they'll never be able to figure out how soul stones work. And then nanomachines, they figured out how soulstones work, and they made perfectly convincing replicas to the point where Mark didn't know that they were fakes until it was pointed out to him, and then he looked again and went, oh my god, it is a fake. Then did you even look the first
Well,
time?
the thing is they only replicated, I think, physically, like molecularly. It didn't replicate its ability. They if they died with that fake soul stone, they would not have been able to be replanted or whatever. So it wasn't a complete replica. So the argument of it's so sophisticated the cats can't replicate it still stands.
Yeah, it was
You know,
only a replication.
nanomachines, son.
Physically, it was identical, but it didn't have the ability.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure any race of aliens with any sort of craftsmanship can recreate a physical soulstone,
Yeah, they can recreate a physical soul stone.
which is what the but the fact that they constantly talked about how the cats couldn't.
Because
Yeah,
they
the
can't. They're
ability
not
of the
soul
soul
stones.
stones.
I,
Like
I
it,
will admit that I spent a large majority of the second book just frustrated that they kept finding ingenious solutions to problems that weren't even really problems. But then when actual problems were happening, like people's lives were on the line, or there were dead bodies, or like there was actual death and destruction on the line, they couldn't figure out how to do shit. It's like all of their brain power just got sucked away when it was actually important. But when it was, oh no, we need to find like a rare flower for this wedding. Oh, let's do this crazy shit, and it's like a fucking Rube Goldberg machine of fucking genius ideas, and they're able to figure out how to make everything perfect for this inconsequential event. But when the cats have kidnapped thousands of human prisoners of war and are torturing them, can't figure out what to do. Sorry, nothing everything we've tried, just we've tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas.
technology cannot fix politics. Got to keep that
Yeah,
in mind.
that's the problem.
And I think that's the core issue of book two. I don't like politics. I don't like constant talking and figuring things out, and just, oh no, the politicking is a huge weak spot of mine. I don't like it. And
I
when
love
a book
politics in books.
when a book goes hard into politics, I'm immediately bored.
That's why Tooth and Claw was so good.
That's why I hated Tooth and Claw the most, I think.
Dilettante likes politics, right?
I like the concept of dragons suing one another. That actually I thought was interesting.
The American Dragon, Dilettante. Yeah, okay, so I just remember something I wanted to get your guys' opinion on because it was handled so, like, off screen, under the rug, done in 10 seconds and forget about it. Forget about it. Uh, they killed Shumo.
Yeah, and Shumo's death was just so
Oh yeah,
So
no,
swept
whatever.
under the rug.
she
Yeah,
became the
like I
most
said,
background of background characters to die off.
she was such a big deal in book one, and I liked it. Like, I understand she did terrible things. I understand why what she did was terrible. Like, I get it. But I liked her as a character in the story. She was a good character. I really liked her. If I was in Jiang or Richard's position, I probably would have done stuff differently. But that's just because of me being okay, like selling my soul to a dragon, right? Uh, but the point is, I liked her, and they did her so fucking dirty. Like, wow, at least make it a bit more of an emotional impact if you're gonna kill her off like that. Jesus.
Yeah, the author doesn't really handle death all that well. Like it is
No,
hand waved anytime it comes up.
even the real deaths are hand waved. Like, yeah, they can't come back ever again. But whatever.
I wonder if Shumo got a lot of backlash when the first book came out. She's like, all right, well, I'll just put her and shelve her out of the
I
way.
don't think I don't know, but I don't think authors really care about that level of backlash between books one and two or two and three or whatever. They don't tend to change the story they had in mind. They only will change future stories. Usually because there's not enough space between book one and two for them to get enough feedback. And if they would be willing to keep changing things, it'd become the most like flippy floppy washy story ever. But yeah, the I want to assume that the reason why, like, probably part of the feeling that Kylie was trying to give in the book was even the real death isn't that big of a deal, which is why we shouldn't spend too much time on making Shumo's death very sad, because as far as the dragons, understand it, the soul will live on and she'll get reborn into another body sometime down the line, right? So it's not the worst of all possible outcomes. That's my thought. And the only way I can justify it being so under the rug, because that's the emotion they wanted to kind of capture, but they did a very bad job of it then. Like they should have had, like, I understand most of them didn't like Shumo anymore, but at least her kid should have been like super sad. Like show the kid being super sad, and Mark or another dragon saying that it'll be okay because she won't be Shumo anymore, but she will be back, kind of deal, right?
Yeah.
Wait, I
Yeah,
thought she was dead entirely.
yeah, she is.
She is, but Mark also mentioned that there might be ways that would take so many years that she may as well be permanently dead.
You just fast forward 10,000 years, and boom, you got Shumo
Yeah.
back.
Dilettante, Bantam, would you guys be sad if you woke up in golden scale dragon bodies? I have to say that the family's reaction to that was like it bothered me because it would be great, like just wake up dragon body, like, hey, this is fucking fun, and that scene showing that they can do that technologically, like they can just, hey, I'm just gonna grow a null body, and next time this body dies, put my soul into that one, please. It's like, dude, if I can just do that recreationally, then fuck it, I'm just gonna live through several different lifetimes as many different things just for the fun of it, right? So their reaction to being stuck in dragon bodies for 5 measly years, when you think about how long lived they are at this point, it was like just so much bitching and whining. It's like, I'm sorry, but just deal with it. God, people. Ugh. Ah.
Well, they ain't ready to accept dragon bodies like we are. Those brains were made to walk on two legs. All of a sudden, they got to walk on
Yeah,
four with
which
a
is why I
tail
think it would
and
have been.
wings.
It's why I think it would have been better to focus on the dysphoria associated with it, right? bring other kin into the discussion. Just touch on that. Maybe some humans 100% want it to be put in different bodies. Maybe there's a bantam in that universe that gets put into a bird body. Yeah, right. But
I
yeah,
Well,
I
why
think
do that when you could just go hand wave it in a coma for 5 years?
the amount of times that the humans start screaming and crying about our humanity, when it also annoyed the piss out of me in this book. They're like, you guys accepted all this technology, you got a functional immortality, you got soul stones and all this stuff, but then, you know, our humanity every once in a while, to just negate an entire plot line because the dragons want to do this or this race wants to do this. And
yeah. Remind me, because again, my line between book two and book three is really shoddy. But they did have a couple party scenes in book two, right?
yes.
Like with the whole, which of the eight things do you want to like say you're okay with? Like the food, the drink, the dance, the sex, right? Out in public, right?
Ah, yes, the space orgy.
The space orgy. Okay, that was in this book. All right. What do you guys think of that whole concept? Like, because that's like I think the first time we actually get to see Dragon Empire uh festivals, I guess you could call it.
It was
Uh,
a lot more of a rager than I thought it was gonna be. Those people were just getting high and having fun.
Wouldn't it have been fun? And apparently there's ritual combat that can't just flat out end in death. So it's like, again, just death is meaningless now.
yeah, yeah. To turn down sparring with your friends because it could result in your death, and the reason why you don't want to do that is, oh, I don't want to have to request a new body, and it's
Such
like
an inconvenience.
such an
This
inconvenience.
this death is. It's like I enjoyed the party, but I did not like the idea of I don't know, just how nonchalant death in general is.
That's the whole series, though.
It
Like
is
after
the whole series.
once the soul stones come into play, death becomes meaningless. Or it does become meaningful, but you skip over the meaningful parts, so it becomes meaningless again.
hmm I'm trying to remember exactly what happened in book two again, because my line between two and three is messed up. So one of you guys like bring up a topic you want to talk about.
So Bantam, that drunken squid guy, what'd you think about him?
It was like my favorite scene in the whole fucking book. I was so upset at her reaction. She's like, "Oh, get off me! Oh, Mark, sober him up." And it's like, no, God, he was just like all over you. You could have had. Oh,
And if I remember the wording correctly, basically he was just rubbing his junk on her face as like a loving tap. Like one
yeah,
of the tentacles.
basically. Because when he saw that apparently that's his sexual organs or something, I don't know. But I was just happy with the tentacles. I
Bantam
like
just lives on
tentacles.
Dragon Homeworld, just full of debasement and debauchery, and just like whatever.
Yeah, yeah, no, like if I existed in this book universe, yeah, I'd just be on Dragon Homeworld doing like just living blissfully ignorant of everything going on outside. I don't care. I'd be fucking Richard from
What about the vacation destinations like the underwater tour or the what I assumed was ice skating on like Saturn's rings kind of deal?
yeah.
Like I
So
had a
like the
hard time
ice
picturing
skating.
what that was, but that sounded like what it was supposed to be.
I guess I
I
don't
don't.
know, but I don't like the idea that you gotta drown in order to vacation in the water. That
It's
that was
not
a
real drowning. You just got to put liquid in your lungs like in the abyss.
it's kind of drowning. I'd say that's the very
I
definition
mean,
of drowning.
I mean, absolutely realistically, in real life, there is breathable water. It's water so saturated with oxygen that you can breathe it. It's not comfortable,
It
and
still hurts
apparently
like a bitch because
it,
the
it
lungs are not
hurts.
meant to take in liquid.
Yeah, it hurts like a bitch, but you can actually survive in it.
It's supposed to also make you chester after a while because it works to work more to push water, a liquid in and out rather than a gas.
Yeah, and apparently it takes months to recover after.
Yeah, gotta kind of dangle upside down for a bit.
So it's not feasible then.
It's not
Uh,
it's not
not with
feasible,
our technology, but with
but with
theirs,
their tech
maybe.
with their bullshit technology where they can just fucking do whatever the hell they want when
They can
it's
just kill you after you're done with the vacation and put you in a new body.
yeah.
I love the concept, but the execution was fucking stupid. Dilatan, what would be a vacation destination on your dragon planet from your fantasy background, whatever. I don't know what to call it.
What, like in Dilettante's world?
Yes,
Uh, I don't know. I never gave much thought to entertainment. Probably have like an
it's
old. We probably have like an old-fashioned
all
Roman Colosseum.
slaves, no entertainment.
They have a giant fungal forest destroying the continent. They don't have much time for entertainment. But if I did have to pick something, I'd probably have like an arena where like dragon
The arena
champions fight
arc.
monsters. Yeah, no, I would totally have a Colosseum. That's a dilettante thing.
I'd have a jungle cruise, like go down the river on a boat, but literally do not stick your arms and legs outside the boat because you will get grabbed and killed by something. Arena, I love arena arcs. Okay, as far as like tabletop RPG goes, I love arena arcs because I just like combat.
You love combat, but yet we played Baldur's Gate last night, and Ray barrelmancied Dilettante.
It wasn't
What?
true barrelmancy.
Did you place a barrel?
I
Did you
placed.
place a barrel and then blow it up? Then you barrelmancied.
Yeah.
So in my head, barrelmancy is when you place so many that you nuke the fight
No,
in one shot and
Nope.
just done. But
no,
placing down a barrel, that's fair because they'll do it to you,
they don't. They don't move barrels around. They just blow them up.
right? But I mean, I'm just putting it next to them and then blowing it up.
That's barrelmancy.
I watched Ray do it, and I was just like absolutely shocked and amused.
Excuse me, I'm trying to remember exactly what happens in book 2. You said it ends with the marriage, right?
It ends with the marriage. The last three major events that happen in book 2. They go to the Aqua Planet after rescuing the last surviving octopus thing from the cats, and they help the babies survive. There's the stopping the execution of the Golden Scale for it, explaining to them that it was
Oh, it's
all a
that close to
lie.
the end, huh?
Yeah, it was all a lie and blah blah blah. And then I think the last event was the actual wedding.
They get Mark to admit it was a lie, right?
Yeah, Mark is like, yeah, I lied,
Okay.
and they
So,
kind of just laugh it off, like, ah, Mark.
oh, Mark. They do that to a
Hundreds
lot
of
of. All right, so I have love hate with a lot of things in this book, and to me, that's the sign of a good writing because you should never be black and white. It should be like, well, I like this, but don't like that, right? I like Mark's character. I like just his character, right? I like his character, and
His thirst for drama.
he's a decent enough tool for a sci-fi setting with my limited experience of sci-fi setting. But what I don't like about him is, I guess, the fact that he just gets away with everything. It's like, oh yeah, I caused like you guys to be slaves for many generations, and some of you have died. And it's like whatever, but I needed my shows. I needed my moving pictures, basically, right? He treats their lives like a soap opera, and they're just like, oh, you,
Also, how would you
because
give a moon-sized AI complete control over your society? What do
well,
they think was
I
going to
guess
happen?
I guess the only defense I can have for them all just being like, oh, you to his fucking war crimes is what are they gonna do? They
yeah,
can't really kill
they.
Mark.
I think John brings up at some point that like you really just put up with this and let him get away with that, and they're like, yeah, it sucks, but I mean his benefits far outweigh his cons.
That is true. If you just had to deal with fucking TV show level drama every once in a while, but you had food that could just appear in front of you, and you could have whatever you
Have
want at
him
any
make
time.
you a new body.
Yeah, it's like I think I can tolerate some drama.
You love drama, okay?
I
You don't
do
like
not.
being in it, but you love it.
I don't like being in it. I love watching it.
Yeah,
If
so
I
you
have no
you are Mark.
if I have no stakes, that's actually true. If I have no stakes and I'm just watching two other people fight and have drama, and I'm not personally attached to either one of them, like they're two total strangers, yeah, I'll watch. It's entertaining to me.
Yeah. Bantam is watching me and Dilettante fight, and when we're done, he's like, "All right, you guys can have
No,
some
no,
cookies now."
no, no. That I know you both personally, and I care about you both. I'm talking about two total strangers. I don't know them. I don't care about them. I don't care who wins because it's just entertaining
I
to
mean,
me.
but if you're an all sentient AI, then you know everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
He's
Yeah, man.
got you there.
I was not aware that the execution was so late in the book. I thought that was like first half.
No,
See, like my order of events is kind of fucked up. I thought it was like, oh, here's some cat stuff, and then immediately into the asteroid, we get rescued, get executed, bunch of vacation destinations, and then like the marriage, like the very very end.
This is why you should reread books, Ray. Mister, I
Uh,
love
I,
reading
I
so much.
I do. I reread a lot of books. I just tend to do them like at least like a year apart.
Uh,
This was like only like 2 3 months, so I was like, ah, that's too soon.
This motherfucker listens to books every night at work for
Hmm.
fun.
Yes.
disgusting.
Like he kept telling me you should. I binged the book in 2 days before, yesterday and the day before, and the thing was is he's like you should listen to the book at work. You should. The thing is that when I'm working, I need something in the background that is just like a baseline uplifter. Right, I can't work with my hands and then also pay attention to what's being said at work because the environment that I'm in sucks. But when I'm at home, I spent like 6 hours making Armored Core emblems with my hands in a controller, and I was able to listen to the book no problem because that was fun for me in the background, and the book was not. I need one fun thing to balance out something I don't want to do. And so listening to books, not fun. Being at work, not fun. I can't do both of those at the same time because it'll just make me miserable.
But
So I
double
have
negative makes a positive.
no. So I have
Then
to
you just
listen to
got more
music.
negatives.
I have to listen to music at work because that makes me work faster and work.
I listen to books at work because the work is so brain dead. I need something to keep my mind on a
Yeah.
single track or else it's jumping around everywhere. Music is not one of that. Music is background unless I can sing along to it.
I have so little opportunities to listen. I cannot retain information.
Don't you drive like 2 hours at a time?
No, I drive like 5 minutes at a time with 30-minute breaks.
I thought you were in the middle of
I
nowhere and you had to drive like an hour to get to any store
No.
nearby you.
no, not no. I am surrounded by all my stops. The longest drive is 15 minutes, and then I have to get out for 30 minutes, and then
Wow.
like 2 minutes to the next stop, and then another 30 minutes to unload and do all
Oh,
the
see,
order.
I really thought you were in the middle of
So
nowhere. You're driving for an hour to get to your fucking first stop. You should listen to the book while you're driving. Like that's why I kept saying, remember to listen while you drive.
nope, I cannot retain every information because it's just like 5 minute intervals every half
Okay,
hour.
okay, that's much more fair. Okay,
Okay.
that makes sense. How long does it take you to stock a shelf?
Depends on what's empty. It
The
can take
other
anywhere
the other
between 10 minutes
problem
to an hour.
the other problem
Oh,
the other
listen during the
No,
hour.
no, no,
Nope,
no.
because I
Listen.
got to
No.
keep an open ear for the managers. I have to read everything off to them and show them, like, hey, I got this much, this much. We got to scan it in. We got to get all the information out. And then I
Ah.
got to keep the image of Little Debbie, so I got to be nice to the customers and whatnot.
Yeah, I was gonna say he addressed this once before. It's like I'm usually the one in the back throwing out garbage when we're leaving, and the vendors come in the morning, right? But they have to stand there with the manager as the manager types in the inventory order. So yeah, he's got to read everything off, and then when he goes out to the sales floor, if he can't just have headphones in, because if a customer comes up and asks him a question and he ignores them, they're gonna go complain to the manager, and the manager's gonna complain to Little Debbie.
And vendors get more shit than associates. We are the bottom of the barrel.
That's weird because my only interaction with vendors have been at the store we work at. There'll be like a vendor doing like the potato chips because I think there's a Lay's vendor. We don't get them ourselves, whatever. And so they're just sitting there stocking the shelf of chips, looking grumpy as fuck, dressed in
Yeah.
street clothes, and not talking to anybody.
But that's because there's no oh, that's because there's no customers in the store when they're doing it.
Yeah, there is. This
No,
is
there
back when I
isn't.
used to work. This is back when I used to work
Oh,
daytime.
well, then that's why they're grumpy. Because most of the Lay's vendor comes in at like 5:30 a.m. So
Maybe Florida's just much stricter than Utah.
Well, the Pepsi, Coke, and Frito Lay's, they're slave drivers when it comes to their vendors.
Oh, okay.
Like they beat them down for little pay. That's why Coke in Florida down here went on strike for better hours. Like they just stopped driving altogether.
No more Coke.
Yeah, Pepsi was kicking ass for a while.
All right. I guess there's nothing much more to talk about in the book if we're talking about being a vendor now.
Not really, no. I mean, we covered all the episodes.
no, I mean it's just this typical tangent. But yeah, like this this book this book single. Remember last time I said yeah, I definitely want to live here. Blah blah blah. Because I liked the technology that the dragons had, and I was totally fine with being dragon struck and having all my fantasies fulfilled. But this book made me not want to live there anymore. Because if there's a cartoonishly evil race out there that apparently can attack Dragon Homeworld at any time, they just don't. Uh, ugh.
Warp bubble.
I will say this. I will say this. The 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 amount of unique, varied alien species that are described in this book, I very much appreciate.
Hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
they're not all different flavors of
Human.
human with pointy ears, human with thick forehead, Klingon and Vulcan. It's like
Yeah.
these are actually different aliens, and they're not
The
just like
fuck, man? That's because of
fuck you,
buttons back
fuck
in
you,
the
Star Trek,
day.
fuck you, Star Trek.
Don't hate on Star Trek. We'll fight you.
I'm hating on Star Trek, but the
I'm
point is,
I'm I'm on Ray's side.
also like as much as I would be fine with just different flavors of bipedal animal, like that they went beyond that too. They have freaking beings of pure energy. They got bugs that are three people fused together into one because they all share one soul. They got amorphous oozes and all sorts of whatever the fuck, right?
They
They
had a
got
spider.
everything.
They had a spider alien that
Oh yeah,
used
the spider
web,
guide.
the spider guard that used webs to communicate and send information, and I was like, oh, I love it.
There's like an energy being that's falling and that's always fighting with a was like a crocodilian or a bird or something. I don't know. It's
Wasn't that the
some of the
argument?
other
Was like,
guards.
hey, we'll make him grow faster if we split the young in half. And you're like,
No,
no, I'll kill
there's
it.
two different energy beings. There's the ones that are idiots that wanted to split up the babies, and then there's the one that's a member of the royal guard that was helping protect the babies because she could exist on the same plane as the bad ones.
Oh, is it the one that always forgot
It's
its uniform?
the one that's always out of uniform.
Right,
Is the
six
running joke there?
something, six
Yeah,
whatever the number.
6'5" or something. I don't fucking know. But yeah, point being is I still applaud the amount of different aliens. Thank God there's nothing that looks like humans
Except for the humans.
except for the humans.
But there's so few of them that it's okay.
Yeah,
The
they get
human, it
once they
feels,
enter the empire, they're so diluted it's fine.
yeah, it feels like for every generic crowd, the humans make up the same proportional amount of, because in most fantasy or sci-fi things, it's like if a crowd of 100 would have like 75 humans, and then the 25 are like 10 different alien species. It's always the humans dominate everything because they're fast breeders. So it's just a huge crowd of humans with a couple aliens dotted in. But in this one, it feels like everyone is equally represented, and there's tons and tons of different alien races all over the place.
Look, the amount of shit I can do on Dragon World, I totally live there.
But it's expensive though. That's where all the primo apartments are.
I'll make it work. I got a business idea that might earn me some scales, but I
You
won't say it.
gonna deliver little Debbie to the dragons?
Hell yeah. They go crazy about potatoes, but they tell the Christmas trees. Be a
Wait
fucking
till they have a
millionaire.
Christmas tree.
Uh, Terran Ascension, a member of our audience, which you can be a part of for $5 a month, asks, "Did the Empress offer you on multiple occasions to fuck her?"
Yes, many times. All right, there's so much lines. I think we're done talking about the book.
Yeah. Okay. If you're going to start talking about the third one, I'm going to make a prediction of how it ends. So here's how. This is how every single sci-fi story always goes when humanity starts. They get involved. They help out whoever aliens fighting, whoever whatever. They join an alien side to fight another alien side, but their interference neuters both sides, and then they become like the center stage of the galactic seat or whatever. It happened in fucking Mass Effect. It basically how Star Trek started out. So I'm predicting humanity neuters both the dragons and the cats, their power, the Empire's power, or whatever, and then they become like the leading galactic influence.
Humans must be the main character.
Yes.
Ah, ah, ah.
I mean, that's usually how it ends. Humans always fucking take over everything. I don't really have a prediction aside from it's going. My prediction for book 3 is just that basically it's going to be more of the same. It's going to be more of them trying to peacefully welcome the cats into whatever, and the cats constantly attacking, and them going, why won't they just listen? And repeat 30 fucking times throughout the entire book, and then end on a cliffhanger.
All right. Uh, So those are your predictions. I'll get into the third book in a second. Before then, let's do the normal closeout for the people that want to like leave rather than being spoiled because maybe they plan on reading it or whatever. Right? The third book will be post credit basically. So in that case, thank you for joining us, everyone, as we talked about the second book of the series, the Dragon Empire series, Guardian of Empire. Stick around after the credits for me to just try and speed run through some of the key points of the third book, Dawn of Empire, and why I didn't like it. um, but yeah, if you'll be leaving and just joining us next time, what are we doing next time, guys?
A movie or TV show or video game
I
or
got two
something.
movies I was going to suggest. Okay,
Okay,
Flight of
you can sit.
Dragons.
It's like we can do a movie or we can do a game. I got some games if you don't want to do a movie.
I'm going to suggest the movies, and you suggest the games, and then we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Okay, my movie, Flight of Dragons, because of how stupidly shaped those damn balloons are, and I think it was Dragon Knights, 2020.
Oh, I think I
Uh,
saw that at Walmart a while back.
yeah, no, it's dumpster dive, bargain bin dive.
Yeah, yeah. It's in the trash DVDs bin.
Yeah, Knight's town's under attack or siege by something, so he's got to go find a dragon to team up with him to go save his village, town, kingdom, whatever.
Hmm.
And those are the only two.
Okay. So my suggestions for games we could do, uh, because because everyone's talking about Larian with Baldur's Gate 3, we could do Divinity Dragon Commander, or we could do a game called Dragon Creek, which is a tiny, tiny little indie game where the point of that game is you own a farm that can raise dragons and you can wash them and feed them and train them in certain things to raise their stats. Because I think there's a tournament, but I only played like I think 20 minutes of it before. It's a tiny little sprite game, side scroller. It looks and plays a lot like ye old Flash games, like that one that you did before Dilla 10, where you're a baby and you eat an element and that determines how you grow up or whatever.
Ah, yeah, the
That's like
Twisted
the art style.
Dragons.
That's the art style that it has. Divinity Dragon Commander is a political visual novel for half the game, and the other half is RTS where you get to play as a dragon
Well,
and
Banta
kill
doesn't
all the
want to do
units.
that then.
No, actually, I would be
Dragon with a
willing.
jetpack.
It's a dragon with a jetpack. I'd be willing to give it a try because it's a Larian game, and the only Larian games I've played is I played like 20 minutes of Divinity, and then I played hundreds and hundreds of hours of Divinity Original Sin 2, and that's it. And Baldur's Gate 3. I've never played any of their other games, and I know that Dragon Commander is one of them. I'm looking at Steam right now. All reviews mostly positive. Recent reviews mixed. I don't know why.
Probably because the people who played it before really liked it, and all the mixed stuff now is new people coming from Baldur's Gate 3, and they're like, "Wait, this is weird."
That's probably actually true.
Yeah, I would push for that because it's quote topical, but by the time this comes out, it'll be like 2 months from now, so it won't be topical anymore. So it's like whatevs.
Trust me, Baldur's Gate is not going away anytime soon. That's going to
All
be
right,
around for a while.
should we do
Uh,
Dragon Commander then?
yeah,
I'm
let me
down for
see if I
Dragon
can.
Commander.
Yeah, let me see if I can find some sales. Uh, saw this review: Jetpack Dragon, pew pew pew, flames and fireballs, jetpack shoo. There's also a decent story, and it seems like combat should be better, but whatever. Jetpack noises, 7 out of 10 with
Yeah,
dragon again.
yeah. From what I understand, the half the game is the combat with the dragon. The other half is you on a ship dealing with politics, talking to representatives from the like four main nations, and depending on your choices, depends on like the ending of the game in Larian style, right? Different ending slides. All right, so that's what we'll do next time. We may record it a week late because I understand Dilatan might be super busy in like a week and a half or something. So
Two
we'll
of my
fight it.
Dollar Generals are remodeling, and the other two have a
Yeah.
visit from a very important person flying from private jet to Jacksonville.
Ooh,
So,
private jet. So
yeah,
that episode might be recorded a bit later, but because of I'm behind on uploads anyway, it shouldn't affect the upload time. This also might be. Let me look at the calendar real fast.
this would have been important to you if you subscribed for $5 a month.
I know, right? There's a good chance that next episode is also the last one we record for like 5, 6 weeks, because again, come October, I'm gonna put the podcast on hold so that we can dedicate all of our mental energy towards trying to do our own little NaNoWriMo.
Yes.
All right, so so that's the plan, listeners. Uh, if you want to get into contact with us to talk, to suggest anything we cover, to ask us any questions that you want to know the answers to that we like didn't talk about on the show, like you really want to know, hey, why didn't you guys talk about freaking character number 35 or whatever, right? Or just want to just say hi and how much you love us because we like the praise. Bantam, how can they get in contact with us?
All right, so we have a X at official.
Oh my God,
It's official now. They did officially change it. Uh,
gross.
we have Twitter. I refuse. It'll always be Twitter. We have Twitter at official WadPod. If anyone has any spare keys for Blue Sky, send an email. And the email that you can send that to would be wadpodcastmail@gmail.com. We do have a Patreon at patreon.com/World of Dragons podcast, and our Discord will be linked in the show notes.
All right, so for those of you who are leaving, goodbye. Say goodbye, you two.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.
All right, so right out the gate, the first problem I have with book three is half of the book is goddamn time travel.
Oh God.
Are
Okay,
you shitting me?
Time travel?
time travel. So it turns out that the reason why, so a lot of knowledge in this book, Mark has a like archived away, so he can't see it anymore. Well, not see it, but like he can't remember it anymore. It's like in deep, deep, dark recesses of his archive. So, turns out that the reason why golden scales are banned from using gates is because the gates can go through time as well as space, right? And that causes time paradoxes, of course, and that's what causes fabric of space-time to crumble and fall apart. And the problem is, once a golden scales is aware that they can go back in time, it starts happening automatically. Because if you even have the thought of, I could go back to yesterday to fix this, even if you don't do it, the fact that you had the thought to do it means you have already started to unravel space time. So it actually is extremely dangerous for golden scales to gate, and that's why all knowledge of it and all, uh, like, if you even do it, put you to death because we cannot risk that. All right. So so there's some element of truth to that. Uh,
So the lie was a lie.
the lie was
The
a lie.
lie about the lie about being a lie is a lie. That's
Well,
dumb as
again, he
fuck.
didn't know because he locked the knowledge away because he can't let anybody know on accident that it can happen. Um, at one point, the which what's the name of the golden skills that they end up marrying?
I can't remember their fucking names.
I don't know. Well, the first part of the book starts out fine because it's more vacations and scenes, and it's the John and the Emperor, whatever his name is, with the golden scale dragon, them trying to have kids. Uh, Yeah, Miko and Haruka. Thank you, Trace Nix. It's them trying to have kids, so they're trying for that, and then they're just doing other lovey-dovey stuff, and they're being good spouses, and it's really great. I love how it starts, but then they start to dismantle the cat empire. They're dismantling it by being nice and friendly to all of the cat subservient species and getting them to join the empire and leave the republic. Right? That's how we're dealing with the cats, by stealing all their friends. Um, there's then an attempt on Jian's life, or just people. There's an attempt on the life which involves basically a small living sun going supernova. Right? Uh, Miko, the Golden Scale, saves them by grabbing the sun and gating to some faraway random spot. Like it was a panic gate. She doesn't know where she went because it's a panic gate in the middle of nowhere, right? So that when it goes supernova, it doesn't damage anything, right? There's now a 6 or 7 chapter long, oh dear God, she's dead. We have to find her. We have 3 months to find her before her stone deattunes and she's gone forever. And as much as I like emotional drama and stakes like that, like I like when there's emotional aspects in books, this was just done so well that it got really like enough already. Stop complaining. Like, oh my God, Gian, you're such a whiner. Like, I get you love her, but Jesus Christ, right? We're talking about like levels of depression where like she doesn't eat, she doesn't sleep, and she's just out in the middle of space just looking for her, and like she's getting all these other golden scales to help because they can apparently see around them in 360 degrees for like light years through
Yeah.
matter or whatever. So there's a big sloggy chunk of that, and then they find out through one of Gian's friends from Earth time. I think it was one of her old spouses, finds a Japanese tomb that has some stuff in it, and when they show it to her, it turns out that there's a message from Miko there. Turns out Miko accidentally went back in time to feudal Japan. So they go, they question Mark like what the fuck, and Mark looks in the archives and finds out information that yes, the golden scales can gate through time. They then have to go to the edge of the universe to find the platinum dragon. I don't remember what they call him before they see that he actually is a dragon, but they go to find him to get him to send them back in time to try and rescue Miko. He's sitting in like some weird stasis bubble because space time around him is so terribly damaged. Because again, him being aware that he can go through time means he's just damaging space time by existing. So if he's in stasis to where he technically doesn't exist while he's in stasis because time has paused for him, I guess it slows down the deterioration. He gets a little salty, but he sends them back. They go back in time. Now we have like 15 chapters of them being in really really early age feudal Japan, trying to find Miko. When they get her and they bring her back to the future, the Platinum Dragon says that, all right, well, now she has to live here in stasis with me forever because the fact that she is now aware she can go back in time, she's going to damage space time around her as well. And in fact, it does start to happen when they are back at Dragon Homeworld. There's earthquakes because space time is starting to rip. I think the book ends with them having to actually abandon the planet because it gets way too damaged around there. Uh, and they're like, no, there must be another way. We can't rescue her just to lose her again because she's got to live in stasis. And it turns out that, well, if you put her into a body that is not a golden scale so she can't gate, she won't damage anything around her anymore. But again, it takes 5 years to attune to a soul stone. Uh, and she doesn't have her soul stone. I forget exactly why, but she can't exist for 5 years damaging space time around her. So what they come up with is they put into stasis, and once a year they will destasis her for an hour, and then put her back into stasis. And so she's got to build up that 5 year attunement period, an hour at a time, which is going to be about 10,000 years. Which is where that comes in. We have to wait 10,000 years for her to be able to go into new bodies so she can actually live with her spouses now. Uh,
What?
and John and Haruka fight over who gets to be in stasis with her because they can't live without her. They love her too much, right? And they end up agreeing that they're gonna trade off. Like John will live for a year while Haruka's in stasis, and then when they go to wake up Miko for the hour for that year, then they'll Jiang will catch up those two on what has happened during this year, and then they'll swap places, and Jiang will sleep for a year with Miko while Haruka goes and exists for a year. The plan is very complicated, and again, the idea that we're just gonna accept 10,000 years of nonsense just because you want to live with this one particular spouse. It's like I get you love them, but that seems insane. Not to mention how your family is gonna like handle that. Like what the fuck? But apparently 10,000 years, who fucking cares?
Uh, there is one thing that I got reminded of, and you can feel free to slot this in the episode at some point. Uh, the whole Soulstone thing is also bullshit, and I hate it because when when you're dead, your Soulstone deattunes in 48 hours. So let's say you're on some alien planet and you get murdered by the wildlife, and no one knows where you are. I mean, the Soul Stone doesn't make you immortal because no one's gonna find your Soul Stone to put it into a new body. I think it's absolutely fucking stupid that the Soul Stone's deattuned. So you gotta spend 5 years with this thing lodged in your head, and then you die, and you have 48 hours to get it into a new body ASAP.
Yeah. So yeah, the soul stone detunes after 48 hours. I may be remembering the book wrong, and they only have 48 hours to find her, even though they stretched that over like 4 chapters of the book, or whatever. I think I might be right on they have 30 days, and I think that comes down to how long she can survive in the vacuum of space before she would die, and then the 48 hours on top of that. It might be something weird like that. I don't know. Um, but yeah, a couple other things of note happen in the book for Jiang's mother, whatever her name was. Cookie? Was it Cookie? That was her nickname, wasn't it? I don't fucking know. She decides that she can't whatever her name is. She doesn't want to live forever. She's bored. She's got nothing to do, and this is why I mentioned the human psyche cannot handle immortality, because she makes the decision: I'm going to willingly take out the soul gem, so that next time I die, it happens for real. That apparently just happens somewhat often. They have an actual ceremony for it where people say, "I choose the true death" or whatever. Uh, and it's a fun little scene. It makes Jiang really sad, but the idea is that it reminds me of the Good Place, where they're in heaven, but they're brain dead because eternity of happiness is like bleh. Once they give them the option of ending it forever, then the life comes back, and they're like, oh, this is amazing because they have an ending in sight, and that just kind of I felt like that tied in really well to human psyche cannot handle immortality. You need to have eventually an end, right? But yeah, that's the book, and I don't like it because it's time travel.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen any piece of sci-fi media that handles time travel well. Or
Yeah,
yeah, no, none of them do.
to answer Trey's next door fast, so the story doesn't really end. No, book three ends like last page of the book ends with them saying, "All right, so Miko's gonna be in stasis in and out for 10,000 years. Haruka and I are gonna swap back and forth every year, but that's fine. We'll just kind of deal with it." And boom, that's the end of the book. It ends at the start of the 10,000 year wait when they decide that's what we're gonna do, but you don't get to see any of it. And you don't get to see any of the after the fact. But yeah, I didn't much care for it.
No, it sounds stupid.
It sounds fine if you enjoy like early level feudal Japan. You kind of want to see it through their eyes. It's kind of interesting. Oh, right, the other thing. So Haruka and Jiang go back to feudal Japan with a Mark sphere, right? And while they're back there with him, they're talking and they're discovering stuff. And it turns out that Mark has existed since the dawn of time. Uh, he just happened into being. The idea being that in an infinite universe with particles being randomly scattered in whatever ways, the idea of give monkey a typewriter and eventually it'll write Shakespeare, right? The particles just happened to coalesce in the perfect configuration to make Mark. So he's existed since the beginning of time just through sheer lucky happenstance. He spent a couple millennia figuring out how to alter stuff around him, and then he started to build his bodies and whatever. He's effectively the god of the universe, but he's a machine. He existed since forever. Turns out that he actually created the dragons because he needed something to be able to carry him around through space so that he didn't go crazy, so he could get his drama, right? So he created the dragons because the platinum dragon calls him the creator. uh, and his plan is he's like, I really like you, Jiang. My plan is to eventually figure out a way to travel between universes so that when this one ends through entropy, heat death, all that, whatever, right? Whether it's in the big freeze or the big crunch, when this universe ends, I'm going to bring you and some of my other favorite mortals, soul stones, with me into the new universe to keep you around forever. So Mark is God, hooray!
You know, I could kind of see that coming. I mean, basically, he controls too much to not have.
Yeah, it's
I
kind
mean,
of
it's
funny
still
that
kind of
if
lame.
he's effectively God, he's still being thwarted at every turn by the cat's nanomachines.
Yeah, the nanomachines. The nanomachines are terrible. The nanomachines just being able to effectively undo everything that is being done is kind of frustrating.
Yeah, at one point the cats find another AI that's like on par with Mark, kind of sorta. It's kind of just floating in some like desolate derelict corner of the galaxy. Like they suspect that AI went crazy and destroyed the people who built it because it's kind of just sitting there, whatever. And Mark gets pissed. Like there can be no other AIs. I must be the only one because she will destroy all of you, and I love you guys. I'm gonna keep you safe and all that, right? So Mark like declares war on this AI, but he gets his butt kicked by it. They eventually trick the AI into going inside a ship and then having one of the golden scales gate it back to the edge of the galaxy where it can't hurt anybody. They don't actually beat it. They don't destroy it. They just have to trick it. So the point is, even though Mark is quote God, he gets his butt kicked by other machines all the fucking time, which I felt was really weird. It's like all or nothing. If you're gonna say he's effectively the God in this story you've written, then make him all powerful and he can beat everything else, right? Not like whatever. I don't know. But it's just funny because when he discovers the other AI and he charges at it for battle the first time before he gets his butt kicked, he says, "I will not let you hurt my children," which I thought was a fun little foreshadow.
Yeah, it seems like a good call not doing book 3. It's time travel. Time travel is always so fucking frustrating because if it's not done slapstick and very minimally, then it starts to get really fucking frustrating. Because then at that point you're like, well, why don't you just go back and fix all the problems and make sure
It
this
gets
doesn't
more
happen?
holes than cheese.
Well, you can't go back in time to fix all the problems because then you destroy space-time. See, this was okay. Like, this explanation of time travel was fine because you explained why you can't do that. So I can accept that. I didn't like it because, again, I was reading this book to have dragons in space, dragon civilization, dragon society, and this book specifically, I went to see more dragon spouse, right, with the kids and all that, right? That's what I wanted. That's what I read the book for. And instead, the author's like, nope, slaps out of your hand. You're reading this book in feudal Japan with no technology whatsoever. And I'm like, that's not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
It was a big ass gotcha that I did not like. Also, Miko, the Golden Scales, ends up having a kid. It's Haruka's kid. He ends up being a platinum dragon as well. Turns out that, back in book one, they explained when a dragon has a kid with a whatever, it's a dragon scale, it's half breed, right? And then if that half breed has a kid with a dragon, it becomes a dragon, right? Turns out that if the golden scale has a kid with a half dragon, the dragon that comes out of that is always 100% a platinum dragon, which I guess is supposed to be like a golden scale, able to gate, but maybe like more strongly, more intensely, whatever, because the only other existing platinum dragon is the one at the edge of the universe in stasis. Um, but yeah, so the kid's got to sleep for 10,000 years too, so he can get put into a new body. And in fact, they also decree all golden scales on in the Dragon Empire must be put into new bodies. You cannot be golden scales anymore. We can't tell you why, but it's got to happen. And there's a couple of golden scales kids that have come about from other pairings. Because I think after Jiang and Haruka married Nico, a couple other people married some dragon scales, some golden scales as well. So there's a couple golden scale kids that are like, well, you know, to do something about them. We can either just kill them because they can exist and they haven't lived long enough to attune to the soul stone, or we can stasis them as well. But they never really touch on what they're going to do with that.
But tell me, this whole time, a golden scale never mated with a half breed and created a platinum.
Nope. They never got married before because I think they assumed they were like a lesser species, which is why they were servant class. Like they weren't allowed to have partners and have kids. There are a few good parts about the book. For example, seeing Mark get so protective over quote his children was kind of fun. A lot of the romantic datey stuff in the first half was fun. I just didn't like the back in time sequence because I didn't like the feudal Japan. It's not what I signed up for. But towards the end of that, once we see uh Miko and Haruka's kid, because she got zapped back in time while she was basically pregnant with the egg. So he has only ever lived in the feudal Japan period. But so once we see him and find out that, oh, you're my dad and whatnot, and then we bring him to the future and he's like, you took someone from feudal Japan into the deep far future with technology like Mark and whatnot. It's like there's a bit of a shell shock there, which was kind of fun to see. So there were some fun points I liked, but overall the book was bleh. If I reread it, it's gonna be in like 5 years. It's not gonna be something that I read very often. But yeah, there's my rant. Uh, do you two want to comment on anything before we close out for real this time?
No.
Time travel should only
Time
be
travel
left
bad.
unless it's Terminator 1 and 2.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.